Hi, it's Theresa with July's angel reading, and this month the angels are talking with us about release. You can see in the card how the angel is holding the sickle. And it's important for us to realize this as light workers because release can happen one of two ways. It can happen with a lot of difficulty, or it can happen when we use the most effective tool for the job. So I love that this card has the angel with the sickle. After the full moon at the end of June, it seemed like we had a little bit of a respite, a little bit of an in-breath, and then bam, the energy started getting really, really intense again. And that's what's happening throughout July. We will be called to release so much of the story, so much of the identity, so much of the identification that no longer serves us. So anything that is ready to go on any level, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, can and will be released, as well as those stories, those things that have come down your genetic line to where you are today. If you are ready and willing to allow them to be released, to allow the angels, the angelic team of healing, to work with you to change your DNA, actual physical and etheric DNA, to bring in new divine blueprint, then that will be happening through July as well. All you have to do is say right now, I call upon Archangel Raphael and my divine healing team to work with me to rid my DNA of any programming that is no longer in service to my highest good or the highest good of all. I ask you to bring in my new divine blueprint, my new genetic encoding, with ease and with grace. This is a hard thing for a lot of light workers because so many of us have grown up in cultures where letting go and releasing the story is almost disrespectful. I grew up in a culture where when someone died, you wore black for the rest of your life if you were the widow or the widower. And yes, absolutely, for a period of time, the story is beautiful. The mourning, the working through all of it, the honoring someone's memory is absolutely beautiful. But when that becomes our identity as we move forward, when we become so-and-so's widow, or when we become a survivor of this situation, or when we identify as being victimized by that situation in some way, that starts to bring our energy down. It starts to bring our frequency down. So those stories that we are ready to say, okay, this story, this situation made me who I am today. It is a part of my history, but I am no longer willing to allow it to be my identity. Do you see the difference? There's an honoring of the process. There's an honoring of having had that situation to help create the whole being of who you are today. But there's also the unwillingness to be solely that, to be the identification with that. So throughout July, we're going to be called upon to release a lot. So this can happen as easily as you will allow. So if you feel emotion, if you feel energy, if you feel any of it, then just listen to your body, listen to your energetic system, and give it what it's asking you for. So sometimes that will mean you sleep a little bit more. Sometimes it will mean you work out a little bit more. So for example, today I did 4 workouts because the energy was so crazy. My body was craving movement, whereas 3 days ago I just wanted to sleep all day. So this is what's happening as your system is telling you what it needs to process and move through the release. And thank God for divine dispensation, because we don't always have to know exactly what's being released. The angels are telling us that there is a time right now, we are in the window of years where divine dispensation is allowing us to move through so much very quickly, and we're allowed to move through it in all directions of time on behalf of our genetic line, on behalf of our family. So this is a really beautiful time to be willing to do the work, and that is why your soul is here at this moment. You are here to clear for yourself and on behalf of the whole. We're doing this for a reason, because we are allowing humanity, segment by segment, person by person, population by population, to clear and stand more in the authenticity, more in the power of who they are now, instead of the story from the past, instead of the story that has caused them to still identify that way. Yes, absolutely. It's been a part of all of us. It's been a part of our makeup. It's been a part of what makes us who we are. So now how can we take the being of who we are now and move forward instead of moving forward from the history, from the story? And there's a very subtle difference there, but it's a very powerful energetic shift from one of disempowerment and victimization to one of complete empowerment and honoring of the process, honoring of who and what we are and what those who've come before us have gone through. So remember, if there is something in your DNA that doesn't serve you, it absolutely served in past generations. There was a reason that it was brought in. It was a survival tactic, and obviously it worked because you are here with it in your DNA. So there's an honoring of what that was and what it did for your family. It allowed you to get here to do this work. So letting it go should be done with honoring, and some of us choose to do that with ceremony, and that's really beautiful. You can always do a burning ceremony, or if you know what you would like to release, you can always write it down and put it in your God box or your intentions box. There's so many different ways to do this work. But the important thing for this month is to really listen in to what your body is asking you for. Because when we use the tools, listening to our body, or the tools we've learned, meditation, maybe a form of movement, maybe prayer, whatever works for you, when you're using the right tool for the job, it can go so much smoother. Another reason we hold on to our past is because we're afraid. We don't know who and what we will look like if we truly release that. We don't know what our life will look like, and that's a couple of different ways. The first is, who and what will I lose if I fully release this? What will my life look like? Who will be around me? Will I be alone? Will I be lonely? That's the first way. The second general fear that we find as light workers is that we are afraid of really embracing the totality of our light, because we've done it before and it has had impact on us in ways that we couldn't handle. We have had experiences that other people couldn't explain to us or were frightened by. We have had the magnitude of our light attract a lot of people who ended up sucking our energy so that we felt super depleted, or any version of those stories. And so now all that we have to do is to call on our angelic team. So even if you don't call on your team, because I get a lot of people saying, oh, I only call on them if I really need them, because who am I? My life is great by these standards, so why should I use their time? So regardless of whether you call on them or not, your angels, your angelic team, your team of guides is here in every moment, all the time. And they're waiting for you to say, can you please help me with this? Because otherwise they're just standing there with their arms folded or tapping their hands on the table or just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. So they never leave you. They are always there. They're in complete support of you. They're asking you, please call on us in this time of release. We want this to be as ease-filled and as grace-filled as is possible. So please let us assist you. And you know that there have been times in your life, as well as I know, that you've resisted release and you've resisted letting go. And you know where that got you. You know how your life got jammed up in various other places. Whereas if you had just let go and allowed the universe, allowed flow to carry you, then things would have been a lot easier. And yeah, in the end, everything worked out, but it's how difficult was it to get to the worked out part? How much more energy did that take? So let's, for July, really lean into our angelic team, our angelic helpers, as we become willing. All we have to do is become willing. And if that's too much for you to become willing, then just become willing to be willing to release. And just say, this is where I am, this is where I'm getting stuck. Please come and comfort me and create ease in my system. And they are there for us in this moment, always and forever. that feels complete from the angels for this month. If any of what we just spoke about really resonated for you, if you recognized yourself in any of those situations at all, you are not alone. All light workers, all highly sensitive people have been there. And it's much easier for us to move through those places when we are not alone, when we find authentic community of like-hearted people. And that is why I put together our Healthy Vibrant You group program. And I'm truly amazed at the shifts and changes of all of the people who went through it the last time. I could not believe how effective this program was. I actually created it knowing it would be effective, but the depths of the effectiveness was completely unexpected to me. So, if you would like to read more about the Healthy Vibrant You group program and find out when enrollment opens, please click the link in the description of this video. You can read all about it, all about how highly sensitive people need community in order to release and to thrive, about how you can stand in your sensitive strengths without being completely affected by energies outside of you, about how you can empower yourself, how you can build energy from the inside in every single moment with every single decision you make throughout the day, so that you can show up in the fullness of the light of the person and the being that you feel called to be, about how nothing about you is weird or strange. There is nothing you can possibly share with us that we do not understand. So please click the link in the description of this video. We would be happy to let you know when the program opens so that you can decide if it's the right time for you to join. I hope that you'll join us in the future. I'll see you again next month on this video and in other videos throughout the month. Check out our Facebook page, also Theresa V, if you would like to have access to live videos as they happen. Bye, everybody.